Hi guys, this is USO Programming, back with another C tutorial. This one is going to be on variable types. So, you might be wondering why I have this weird Venn diagram thing painted in front of you. And that is because variable types have everything to do with this. So, first let's define what a variable is. So, a variable can be thought of as a box in which you can store information. And a variable type is just you could say the size of that box, or basically how what kind of stuff the box is capable of storing. So you might recognize this from your pre-algebra class or earlier. This is just a Venn diagram showing the classes of numbers. So this is the natural numbers in the middle, whole numbers outside, the integers which encompasses it, then the rationals, then the irrationals, and all that's in the real numbers. Then these are the imaginary numbers, and the entire thing is the complex set. So right here, variable types have everything to do with this, as I might have just said. So we have plenty of variable types, of which I've listed most of them here, and you can just refer to this list or find it online or something whenever you need it, but it helps to memorize it. So here are the integers. So if you've taken pre-algebra, you know that the integers are all the natural numbers. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, all the way to infinity, and their opposites. So -1, -2, -3, -4, all the way to negative infinity and 0. So these are the integers. Int, short, long, and so the int is the one that you'll be using most common. It just stands for integer. And the short, you might be wondering what that is. That just means that the variable box is smaller, in that it can store less stuff. So I think on most machines the short only runs to about the number 32,767, and then the int is a lot larger than that, like 2 billion something, and the long is a lot larger. So these just represents the size of the variables. I think this one allocates 4 bytes normally, so that's 4 bytes of memory. That's just the size of the variable box, so to speak, and this only allocates 2, and this allocates 8 or something. Now these unsigned, you might have guessed this already, but unsigned just means that there is no sign. So this represents all the whole numbers. It only goes from 0 to a very large number. So here is unsigned int. So essentially what this means is normally when you have a variable, the last however number of bits are reserved for the magnitude of the integer, while the highest order bit, that is reserved for the sign. So when it's 0, that indicates that the number following is positive, and when it's 1, it indicates that the number following is negative. So unsigned int, that's kind of a misnomer. It should actually be kind of like, this represents the set of whole numbers all the way up to some very large number. Same with the short. These just represents the size of the boxes again. So unsigned short is just a smaller box than unsigned int. Unsigned long is just a larger box than unsigned int. Other than that, all these three are the same in that they can only store 0 and positive numbers, positive integers. So here are the decimals. So if you ever want to store a fractional part, so these would store any of the rational numbers. So if you want to store a number like 3.3 or -4.2 or anything like that, you would use one of these. So the float just stands for floating point, in that the decimal point can kind of float between numbers. I don't know if that makes sense. And then the double, it just stands for double position. So what that means is that this one can accommodate more digits after the decimal point than this one can. So I think this one only accommodates around 6 digits, while this one is like something like 13 or something. I don't remember the numbers exactly, but then there's the characters, so like A, B, C, D, E, F, G, space, period, all that, slash, question mark, everything you can store in here. And then the boolean. So boolean is just true or false, and this is the real boolean type. It's actually only in C99. If you remember the C standard video that I made a couple of months ago. So the underscore big uppercase BOOL. You might wonder why I have this commented out. That's because it doesn't work in the C++. Remember that this is actually C++ compiler, the underscore big B OOL does not work in C++. Instead, what you just use a much more elegant looking name, BOOL, so that's just bool. Boolean type can just store true or false values, so you can store like B equals true or B equals false, and that's it. Um, these are actually much more useful than you might think. In programming, a lot of things are true and false, because just think about it. Even at the lowest level, bits and bytes are nothing but true or false. You can think of 1 as true and 0 as false. So these are pretty useful. Remember them. And in C99, since this underscore bool thing is very unelegant, there's actually a header that you can include in order to get this, and that's hash include, and the name is stdbool.h. So this might not work. Yeah, this doesn't work in C++ because this header probably doesn't exist. But you'll probably want to include this if you're programming in C99 and you want a Boolean type, because this definitely looks a lot better than that. Okay, guys, see you in the next video.